So I'm not in my office, I'm in my home office. So I just have a Google Meetup so we can at least see something. But usually I have another cam set up and I just don't here. So this will just have to do for now. So usually when I build my bike projects, I like to record everything in an Excel sheet or a Google sheet or something along those lines. If you guys are following my Instagram page, you guys already know I got these wheels. They were posted for $100, but it's been up for a while, 6 months, as you can see. So we dropped the price down to 80. So I actually picked these up for $80, which for some bomb-proof wheels, this is a great steal, and I love them. I love Rolf wheels. I think they're fantastic. The high spoke tension worries me a little bit, so I just had to make sure that I checked if there's any hairline fractures, and there's not. So it looks like we're good. Now, usually, like I said, I record it with an Excel sheet or a Google spreadsheet or something. I wanted to change it up. I want to use like Base44. I don't like deploying apps with Base44. I like using them for like internal stuff, like little stuff at home that no one else will have access to. I think that's what Base44 is like best for. I don't think reselling off of there is the best idea. Apps that I develop for clients, I'll use Claude Code for one, and I'll deploy with Google AI Studio or Google Vertex, and I'll use Superbase or Firebase or some other authenticator, just depending on the app. But I'll use that for production stuff, internal, at home, one-person access stuff. I think Base44 is great for. So let's actually build that out right now. So I've already created a Google Gem. If you want to make a video on how I did that, put it in the comments and I'll write something up. But I built one that's specifically best used for Base44. So I'm going to actually give it some instructions. I actually already built it here, but just so that you guys can actually see through the process. Right, so we're going to generate. So I just gave it a prompt. All I said was, it already has a lot of this backend, so a lot of this is redundant, but I just told it, if you don't have a gem, for example, just say, generate a prompt for Base44. Tell it to build a budgeting app, budget and profit app for flipping bikes. And you can do it for whatever. You can do it for flipping furniture if you like to build furniture. It doesn't matter. Now, I like to do it through Gemini first, because as you start generating more prompts in Base44, it takes up a ton of credits. But just building the app the first time takes like a credit or something. So very, very low. So the more you can get out of it in the first prompt, the more credits you'll have for later for tweaking, which I usually suggest tweak through Gemini to get the prompts that you want and then pop it into Base44. So there we go. You always want to review it too. It tells you the function in the blueprint, so that way you know exactly what it is that you're looking for. Build a profit through here, sourcing, cost description, the app should automatically calculate total investment for the prompt. Yep, I think all this is fine. High contrast. I hate the electric orange accent. I always think it looks weird, so I might adjust the way it looks. So let me build out another prompt, and then I'll load it up in Base44 so you guys can see. So a bit of a time skip. A lot of this just so I can adjust the work page, so because you guys don't really see the other apps that I built on here. We're focusing on the one thing. Focus, right? So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to copy and paste the prompt that I had built out. I made a couple tweaks on it, but you'll see it here in the prompt. Biggest thing is the vibe. The actual look of the app is a little bit different. Like I said, I don't like some high contrast things, but I don't like the neon this, neon that. I think that's too much. So I give it a different vibe to the app. So now that we have it ready, we just prompt it, let it build its thing, and it's going to build it out. Since it's such a small app, it shouldn't take too much. By the way, you guys might notice the video is a little slow just because it's taking up a bunch of RAM to build this out. So let it do its thing. And we are back. Now, it took about 5 minutes. Actually right here. 5 minutes to build it out. So not too long, but you guys don't need to wait here 5 minutes watching something load. So this is what it ended up generating. I think it looks great. I would definitely make a couple tweaks. I'm 50-50 on the yellow. I feel like it fits the whole bike theme because there's something about yellow with bikes that just tend to work, but I hate yellow. So I might change my mind on it later, but for right now, it's fine. Like I said, it's just for tracking. I don't need anything sophisticated. Like I said, I just used a spreadsheet before, but for something like this, at least it gives me a visual of what I've done. So I haven't made any adjustments. You can actually see right here through the prompt where it is just, it tells you what it built out off of the prompt that I gave it, and it looks pretty nice, especially the part where I changed in the prompts to make it more of like a bike gallery and profit tracker. It gives it a more aesthetic look, more like a website page, which I think is nice, and it's easy for me to switch between the build phase, listed, and sold. That way I can really quickly jump between them. And then I like that it has a garage part, which is this part. It tells me what projects are currently open. I don't know who this is, but like I said, I haven't made any adjustments to the app at all or anything on there, but let's see what they got. So I'm just gonna open up this thing. It says it's a Trek 520, so I don't know who this guy is. Okay, so there is the picture there. I don't know what the after is, but sure. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, it looks like these parts here are auto-generated, which is great. It means I put my parts cost into here, which makes it easy, and then it generates the differences, including your profit cost. So, and whatever my sell price is, which I don't know where I would put sale price in here. Maybe it's when I have it set for sold or whatever. But anyways, so one thing I notice is when I click the X's, these don't work, so I'll make sure I make that adjustment and fix it. But for right now, I'm just gonna delete this project. I like to start with a clean slate on whatever it is that they're doing. Same thing this, I've never owned a mongoose, delete it, and then we can start a brand new one from scratch. And this guy too, delete it. Okay, so there's a couple issues on there, so I'm gonna make some adjustments, get all that cleared up, go through a bunch of little tweaks on here. Oh, I did talk about credits. So like I said, usually to get this type of build out, if you just give it small prompts, usually you get 5 to 10 prompts needed to get there. It would usually take you about 25 to 50 credits to get around this phase. But if you use Gemini, like I said, to build you a better prompt and then adjust in there, this only took 1.2 credits. So makes it a little bit easier for me, which means when instead of going in here and fix a bunch of like these little things, I can just tell it a prompt to make sure this stuff actually closes. I can use those extra credits in terms of building that instead of wasting it on the prompt. So I'll go and start doing that, make sure it works. But let's move away from the app for now. Like I said, this is just so I can start tracking stuff. I could just use a Google Sheet, an Excel sheet like I did before, but it's 2026, we might as well come with the times. Plus, this started off and built, like I said, in 5 minutes. So why not? Okay, tweaks are done. I got rid of the yellow. I'm feeling more of this blue color, which, you know, it just hits different for me. This feels cleaner. It doesn't mess with my eyes as much, so I like it better. This did take a credit right here, just under 1 credit. All I did was to tell it to switch to sonar. I gave it this prompt. It doesn't work. When you click on the X, also have it to auto adjust to disappear and close after 5 seconds. So I didn't have to tell any of this. It just did it for you. And I think when you're just building something small like this, it's perfect. Just talk to it and it builds it for you. I also adjusted it so that when you get that little pop-up, it goes away in 5 seconds. So I don't have to worry about it. It just goes away. I kind of figured it out a little bit. And then before we go into this app, let's start with what I have. I have the Rolf wheels, $80. Already talked about that. I was going back and forth between different frame sets. I kind of found this little gem right here. Now it's just the frame. It is an all aluminum, but there is a version of this that had the top and the rear seat stay as carbon. It's not this one, but it's still very lightweight, and I've always had a love for aluminum bikes. The plus that I didn't realize until later, after looking it up some more, that is a carbon fiber front fork. It's a Bontrager Aero, so it does lighten up the bike. Total for the frame is 4.5 pounds, frame and fork, just around 5 pounds and some change, with the seat clamp, the headset, and that stem, which I'm going to get rid of, but we'll talk about that later. This is what it is that I'm going to be running off of. Plan on picking this up tonight or sometime this weekend. I've been going back and forth in cranks, but I think I'm going to grab these ones. These are $30. Now I do need to get a square taper bottom bracket, which I think is age appropriate for this bike because it is older. It's early 2000s, so I think it works. It is carbon fiber, and I think it just looks good. I think I have one somewhere in the garage, which is a Shimano square taper bottom bracket. If not, I'll buy a new one. They're like 10 to 15 bucks online, so I don't know. If I have it, great. I save myself some money. If I do, it's not that expensive compared to other bottom brackets. So it is what it is. I'm going to try and go for as light as possible. But if it turns out the bottom bracket is just so heavy, I might go to a completely different crankset. But this is kind of the build that I'm looking at. So just to kind of start off of where I'm at, let's look at what it would look like to build a new build, right? So this guy is a Lemond Chambery all aluminum, and I will make a note of that. Don't need this very light part here. All aluminum, or aluminium, whatever. It is going to be a road bike this time. I will upload the photo. What's the date today? Is it this one? Not that one. This one. Here we go. Now I don't have a progress photo because I haven't gotten the bike yet, right? But total cost, if I were to kind of put what it is for the bike, it's $50. The selling point on this one, I can kind of give it some info, which is nice. I think it's a 1 inch, so this is tell us that it's a bit older. That's fine. Like I said, it is an older frame set, so newer forks now are 1 1/8. So 1 inch threadless is what this is. Very hard to find a stem for this one, so I'm gonna have to look around. I don't want to reuse that stem. I think the angle's way too high for me. If I were to flip it around, I think it'd be way too low. So I'm gonna have to find and look around for something. I haven't built too many 1 inch fork / steerer tube ones, so I'm just gonna have to research it a bit. Stay tuned. I'll figure out what I can find. So it's gonna build this guy, which is great. And here is the parts, what I have, and I'm gonna add a part here. So let's go wheel set, and we're gonna do Rolf Vector Pro silver. And the cost for this one was $80, and add. And as I add more parts, you can see the price in here start to increase. So it gives me a good gauge of how much I've spent on it and how much I want to sell the bike for, if I ever do. I don't think I'm going to sell this bike. Then again, I have way too many bikes, so let's leave that for now. But here we go. Build this out in like I said, 5-10 minutes, and then now every time I build a new bike, I'll pop it in here. I might even go back to all my old Excel sheets and maybe just import them in here, because I have a bunch of pictures everywhere, so I might as well load them in here and then just kind of go from there. I might even add in another gallery section that's not just before and after, but of just a bunch in general. So it's kind of cool. Like I said, I didn't like the yellow. I'm not feeling it. So what I did in Base44, this just changed, by the way. There's a theme in here, and you can just find the colors. These were all yellow. I just found a colored blue that I liked, and then I just replaced them all here. And it just made it really, really easy, because before I used to have to get the color code and then ask Base44 to do it. Didn't always work, so then I would go to Gemini and be like, hey, do this new vibe with this color code on this accent level or on here. So they made it a little bit easier, so a little bit faster now. And then from here, I'm pretty much just ready to publish. I just wouldn't make it publicly accessible. So if I were to publish this thing, it would be private with a login required, and then I'd have my own login if I ever wanted to access it, but I'm just building this for me, so it's not really that big of a deal. And then publish it. Now it's ready to go. So then I'll have a whole website. I don't need to buy a domain. I could, and I could make a video of how to do that. And if you're interested in that, same thing, pop in the comments, just type in domain, and then I will build it with a custom domain. And then if people like the app, then maybe I'll build it out so you guys can use your own. But honestly, just build it yourself. It was free. Don't pay me. Don't pay anyone. Just do it yourself. So hopefully there's a fun little look of what this project is going to look like. Like, I'm not a big fan of these colors. If I could change the red on this bike for that type of blue, I would love it. Or purple. I love purple and teal. I might actually strip all the paint off of this bike and go for like a nice solid aluminum and that silver look to match with those wheels. I don't know. We'll see where the bike project goes. So this is just the building phase and how I can kind of budget it for myself. You can just use an Excel sheet if you want to, but this was a free thing. And this total credit cost me 1.2 plus, what was this? So not even 3 credits. So you can sign up for the free Base44 app, which gives you 25 credits total in a month, and you can only use 5 credits in a day. You could build this out yourself, and then you'd be good to go. So why not build it out? A lot of fun. I like building out bikes. So I'll keep you guys posted on where the bike project like this goes, and then we'll see. So I'll try and post up more videos like this for you guys. Anything here catches your interest, let me know. Or if you guys have any recommendations, some of you guys might like really like that red and OG color scheme from Lemond. I really want to strip it blank. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think and whether I should strip it or keep it.